Assalamu alaikum. This is one black man's opinion. Today is Monday, and this morning's reflection is one on the law of use. I posted last night a meme, if you will, that stated that I had traveled to Turkey, China, Ghana, the Gambia, Jamaica, and other places around the world. And what's curious is that everywhere that I went, everywhere that I've traveled, I found the people of those respective nations playing hip-hop music. And so I posted that with popularity comes responsibility, and that the people needed revolutionary rap, salvation songs with liberation lyrics. Now, in saying that, it really goes to the heart of the law of use. There's a law of use that if we don't use what we have been given, if we abuse it or misuse it, the law of use is always in effect. And as the law of physics says, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So our hip hop, blues, R&B, gospel, and our spiritual songs, if you will, our Negro spirituals, come out of pain. And expressing that pain touches the souls of individuals, touches the hearts of the people. And as their hearts are touched, your heart and my heart begin to connect. This is why music is universal. And this is why I urge you to get the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's Let's Change the World album compilation. Because without preaching, without speeches, without lectures, which oftentimes can be misinterpreted, manipulated, taken out of context to direct people's anger, mistrust, or hatred towards the man, his music is a healing that touches one person's soul to another. Once again, art and culture and music can transcend borders, can transcend class, can transcend color, can transcend creed when it's communicated in its purest form. But when the corrupter comes in, when the enemy comes in, the culture vultures come in, and they, through cultural appropriation, take our art form, take our expression of our soul, and for the sake of commercialization, but even more wicked, to take our art form to misdirect a whole generation or a whole world, to confuse them away from the real purpose of art and culture, to communicate to human beings the soul of one another, the culture of one another. What hip hop has been turned into is not the fault of the rappers. But as you see, many of our hip hop artists are now being killed. We ask ourselves the question, why? What's going on? Well, the culture vultures, the music executives, have taken our art form to misdirect a generation which we have identified as the Joshua generation, the one who would lead us across the Jordan River into the promised land to fight the giants. They have taken them to misdirect them, to keep them wandering in the wilderness so that they will never fulfill the promise of God for our liberation, our salvation, and the revolution of our thinking, of our hearts, and even our activities. So now they've taken the expression of hip hop, which comes out of New York, the West Bronx, South Bronx, as they say, Cool Herc and others, taking their parents' old songs and remixing them and keeping the beats, and then the MC rapping on the mic and the break dancers breaking, not gang banging and shooting and killing one another, but break dancing. Who's the best break dancer? And then, because there was no arts, or they had cut arts out of the school budget because New York City almost went bankrupt, they took spray paint cans from the hardware store and began to use the subway cars and the walls of New York as their canvas to express what is graffiti. These are the original 4 elements of hip hop. And of course, other things have been added to it, slab cars, lowrider cars, things of that nature. Of course, wearing the grill and tattoos and different hairdos and whatnot. These things have become a part of the hip hop culture. But these culture vultures, these are the same ones that tried to tell you and I that Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. Little Richard wasn't having that. With Pat Boone took Tutti Frutti and made it a hit, even though nobody played it like Little Richard. And so what you have to understand is today is that our art and culture has been weaponized against us. So I'm asking all of those who have influence, who have authority, who have positions, to remember that we are responsible, because our authority, our influence, our popularity, our position does not come from us. There's an ultimate authority that we have to answer to. And it's he who gave us the talent, he who gave us the ability, he who gave us the magnetism to attract people, he who gave us the talent and the skill. We have to answer to him. And if we misuse what we've been given, then there's a price to pay. And the scriptures say that the wages of sin, the payment for sin, is death itself. Now, brothers and sisters, I'll close with this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in Fall of America says these words: Babylon is used as an example for some distant people or their history. According to the prophets, this name Babylon is something that begins in Genesis and ends in Revelation. It is found throughout the entire Bible. Therefore, we must not look at it as one personal part. We must not look at it as spelling out to us the ancient only. We're to look for modern day Babylon. He goes on to say, and this is in The Fall of America, Modern Babylon is Falling is the title of the article that's in it. He goes on to say, Babylon fills herself up with people of that sort. The USA came into the Western Hemisphere and chased and all but annihilated the Indians. But America invited every one of the poor class who wanted to come from Europe to make themselves at home here in America, the Indians' country. All of the poor and evil citizens of Europe, America welcomed them. She invited every race of the earth in, come and join in with her in a free country where evil and filth are openly practiced without hindrance. My brothers, my sisters, the Holy Quran warns us that every nation has a term. So when its term comes, they cannot remain behind the least while, nor can they precede it. Well, this modern day Babylon is corrupting not only our youth, it's corrupting the whole world. And sooner or later, there's a price to pay. for that corruption. Babylon the Great has fallen, has fallen. She has become a habitation of devils, a cage for a hole of every foul and unclean spirit, and a cage for every hateful bird. My brothers, my sisters, we got to come out of her. Come out of her folk ways, her mores, her norms, her values, her attitudes. And we have to take on the norms, the values, the attitudes of a savior, of a people who want to see people live free, justified, and equal with man and mankind. So, beloved brothers and sisters, just remember, to whom much is given, much is to be required. And ain't you tired of rapping about chains and money and drugs and abusing women and violence? And ain't you tired of that? Can't we talk about life? Can't we talk about freedom, justice, equality, love, peace, happiness, food, clothing, shelter? Can't we talk about the things that bring life and life more abundantly? You don't have to get corny. You don't have to be whack. But use your imagination to uplift the people. Again, our arts and culture has been weaponized to misdirect our youth and to misdirect the rest of humanity. That's Satan's job, to make everything, even evil, fair seeming. So, brothers and sisters, let us clean up or we're out of luck with God. Let us straighten up. Let us clean up. Let's do the best we can. Never, 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 artists, sign a 360 agreement. This is what the rappers told me. Because when you have a 360 agreement, those record executives not only own your masters, your publishing rights, but they also own your image and the very name that you use on stage. That's slavery. Don't be a slave to anybody. That talent, that skill, that influence, that magnetism that you have come from God himself. That's the only one you and I should be a slave servant to, not a slave to Satan. This is one black man's opinion. What's yours? I'm Brother Abdul Halim Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.